If you're watching this, you're probably a therapist, a mentor, a coach, an entrepreneur, a business owner of some kind, and you've dropped into this space because you're curious to know what the three archetypes are, the survival archetypes that are likely to show up in your business and can totally hijack things. So, my name is Jenny Glick. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, a certified sex therapist. In this space and online, I'm a guide, I'm a mentor, I'm a torchbearer, really, to support people like you to shine the light on themselves so that you know the archetypes, which are like the parts of yourself that tend to show up both in their light aspects and their shadow aspects, because those shadow aspects are the aspects of these archetypes or scripts, that these parts of ourselves, that when they show up and we live by them in relationship, in business, with our relationship with money or our body, they will really take us down. And I spent so much money, over $200,000 in coaching since 2018. Some of those investments were really wise, but many of them were coming from shadow archetypes and I couldn't see them. So I'm going to share those with you now. I'm going to share my screen. And as we go through them, I want you to grab a piece of paper and jot down which archetypes resonate most for you. So we're going to start with the shadow aspect of the victim. This is an aspect that most people can really relate to. So that's the bottom half in the victim column. So if you're coming from a victim archetype, you will always feel like you're being taken advantage of by clients, by vendors, by coaches. You'll feel like it's never your fault if something doesn't go right. You might be someone who talks about having bad actors around yourself. So maybe your parents didn't help you, or you didn't get that scholarship, or clients don't say yes to your offer. You might find yourself colluding with others about how hard it is in this particular economy, maybe blaming the economy. Your emotional well-being might be wedded to your professional life, to those financial goals or those impact goals that we often have as coaches and entrepreneurs. If you say yes to any of those things, I resonate. I can live there even now. And one of the values of being able to recognize this, recognize our shadow victim and bringing it into the light, is that when we shine the light on it, then we get to experience the light aspects of the victim, which is the top of this column. So when your victim is in the light, it alerts you to possibilities that you might be being victimized. And this is often, in my experience, when you want to be saved, when you want someone to give you the solution to rescue you. The light aspect of the victim offers us discernment. So for myself, I've spent so much money on different kinds of coaches, and now I have a lot of wisdom and discernment about who would be the best fit for me. I'm able now to identify when I might be prone to victimizing others, right? And so really do an assessment of yourself and recognize or see in your own business, where is it that you might be taking advantage of others or victimizing others? And that's the light aspect. So what that means is when we pull our shadow up into the light and we can see how it is that we might be running from those scripts, then we are less likely to fall into that victim way of living. So the second survival archetype, the prostitute. So the shadow, we'll start there. Selling out your time, your energy, your ideas, your life for something that is not in alignment with your values and morals. And so many of us, I know that's why I left working in a traditional, different nonprofits and things that I worked at before, because they just didn't feel like an alignment for myself. So although I didn't know anything about the prostitute archetype back then, I was absolutely prostituting my time and my energy for what I felt like was the security of money. I was working resentfully back then. Maybe you've had that experience, or maybe you find yourself working in ways that don't actually satisfy you. You might be staying in a situation just for financial or emotional security. Again, as I'm reading this, you might recognize that these are also ways that we show up in intimate partnership. And that's how I work with 80% of those who I serve, is in their marriage, their intimate partnership, because these archetypes are alive and well for almost all of us. And when we can shine the light on the shadow of the prostitute, we bring that into wisdom for the light aspect of the prostitute. So that is knowing who you serve in your business and who you don't serve. And so when you know what it's like to give yourself away, to be a sellout to yourself, then you are invited to come into deep coherence and alignment with who it is that you are and who you want to serve. The light aspect of the prostitute will help you identify your unique values, how you want to live, and it will support you in creating boundaries and having a real embodied yes to how it is that you're doing your business. Even those parts of your business that maybe you don't love, all of us have aspects of our business that we don't necessarily love to do. But if I don't do it resentfully, and if I align it with my values, and if I do it in a way that's deeply nourishing to me, then I'm not prostituting myself. So the shadow aspect of the saboteur, this one is so relatable because this comes from feeling a sense of low self-esteem, low self-worth, which prohibits us from moving forward. And I think it's so easy for us to recognize this in our businesses, especially if you're a coach and you work online. You have to put yourself out there again and again, whether it's on social media, on podcasts, writing copy, meeting other people, identifying how it is that you work, really doing the chop wood, carry water. That has to be done. I've worked for myself for 20 years now. It's hard to believe, 20 years. And so much of my success is because although I might periodically have low self-esteem, and certainly, 10, 20 years ago, I had that more than the confidence that I have now, I was able to really kind of force myself to do the things that felt hard because I wanted to help the clients, pay my mortgage, those kinds of things. So the shadow saboteur, we have destructive behaviors. So it might be that you let yourself be really ADHD with your business and not blocking time to work on things. You might be consciously or unconsciously undermining the success of yourself and of others. So you might look at how it is that you don't want others to succeed, which is really normal. And you would never admit it. I know, and I would never want to admit it too. But I certainly have had periods in my professional career where I'm close with someone, a colleague, and yes, I'm very happy for them because they're making multiple six figures or have hit the 7-figure mark. But there is a part of me, and it's conscious because I know about it, that conscious saboteur where I'm like, oh, part of me feels like really sad that I'm not making that, right? And I don't necessarily undermine their success, but when I feel that in me, maybe like you, I can drop into the shadow victim, right? And so this is what happens with these shadow aspects of these archetypes, is that if there's a part of me that maybe wants to undermine the success of my competitor, I can then drop into being a victim. Like, why is it happening for her and not for me, right? And then we can end up living there, and our business can start to be defined by the shadow survival archetypes, which is why it's so important for you to know about these. And then the other aspect of the shadow saboteur is looping in the same mistake again and again and again. Oh my goodness, have I done this? Where I kept hiring a certain kind of coach again and again and again and paying so much money because I wanted that person to save me. I wanted them to shine a light on me in a particular way. And finally, the last time I did it 2 years ago, I paid somebody $25,000. It's still so hard for me. And she wasn't a good fit. And I lost that money, but it was an investment in me living in the light aspect of my victim, prostitute, and saboteur, because I no longer sabotage myself by partnering with people who are not a good fit. So the light aspect of the saboteur helps you see ways that you can undermine yourself. Like, I can now see the way that I was undermining myself by partnering with coaches that were very masculine. And I'm kind of a masculine woman anyway, and how I show up in my business. And they were even more masculine than me. And then what I would do is completely go off course, drop my spiritual practices, drop tending to my body, and work 14, 16 hours a day. So although I was making the money, I felt so depressed and depleted and unnourished, malnourished, that I was not happy, right, in that. And so now I know that. So I know to watch out for that pattern. The light aspect of the saboteur flags you to where you might be standing in your own way. So not allowing yourself to reach out to that colleague that maybe you can network with, or hire that just right coach or mentor for you, or sign up for that program that actually would be a really good fit, or better yet, not sign up for the program and do all of those programs that you've already paid for, and integrating that knowledge or wisdom that you get from those programs. So the light aspect of this archetype really alerts you to these persistent patterns that can come up that will limit your success. So many of us buy $29 programs or $15,000 programs, and we don't even finish them. We don't even do them. And then that can drop us into this the shadow aspect of the victim and say, none of this stuff works. And I've tried everything and I've been there. So I'm not teasing you. Well, I'm a little teasing you, but I'm teasing myself too, because I've been there where I've invested in things and not done them and then felt like, why doesn't this work for me? So the light aspect of these archetypes can not only save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in your business, they can make your business so much more joyful to create. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. If there is something new that you learned, or if you are recognizing a pattern, I'd love for you to drop me an email and let me know what insight you gleaned from this. And thanks so much for being in my world. I'm delighted to have you. Look forward to seeing you soon on the inside, hopefully. And this is where I push